everyone, and welcome to another edition of Booming Encore's Learning Bites. My name is Susan Williams, and I'm the founder of Booming Encore, and today I'm delighted to be joined again by Gary Foreman. Gary is the founder of The Dollar Stretcher and also the publisher of Finances Over 50 newsletter. Welcome, Gary.
Glad to be here, Susan. Thanks for inviting me.
Very happy to have you. Now, Gary, we're going to talk about living on a fixed income in retirement. So why don't we get started by saying what exactly is a fixed income?
Well, actually, I think the fixed income is something that has kind of disappeared for our generation, to be honest. In our parents' generation, people retired and they lived on Social Security or pension, and that was a fixed income. It didn't change much. And that today, I'm reading that up to 70% of retirees will have some gainful employment while they're retired, either part or full time. And that, so I think we have many more opportunities today to change our income. It's not quite so fixed as it was in a generation or two ago.
Well, that's interesting because then it's more of adapting to hopefully a flexible income, but there's still some things that people should do in order to prepare for this, because as you mentioned, their careers may be changing or they may be moving to part-time work, but probably preparing for how to manage your expenses in retirement is
very much so, because for the vast majority of us, our income will be lower after we retire than it was before. I mean, even if we are working, the chances are we're going to be earning a lower hourly rate than we're used to earning. If we're living, for instance, here in the States, Social Security typically only replaces about 45% of the pre-retirement income, and I'm sure your Canadian pension plan is, probably somewhere in the similar range, and it's not 100% replacement. So we do need to make adjustments to prepare.
And the DB pension plans being somewhat replaced with DC pension plans, this moves a lot of the responsibility more onto the actual individual, does it not?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And I think it's wise for us to take that responsibility. And it's not that difficult. I think most of us, we know what we can expect from those government-sponsored pension plans. We know if we have any private pension plans coming. We also know what we have in savings. Typically, experts will tell you can figure to take about 4% of what you have in retirement savings per year in income. So if you have $100,000 saved, you can expect to take about $4,000 a year. And so you can get a pretty good feel for what your income is going to be after retirement. And the same thing is true for expenses. Now, traditionally, experts would have told you to take that your expenses would drop about 20% after retirement. And that may be true for some people, but our lifestyles are vastly different than they were for retirees 20 years ago. For instance, my wife, she's about to retire, and I have a funny feeling that with the two of our kids living 1,000 miles away, that our frequent flyer miles are going to go up. Well, now let's face it, even Southwest can be expensive when you're taking more trips. And so what I suggest people is to take their current expenses and look and see what's going to change. Is their housing situation going to change? Or will they still need two cars? Maybe they'll have an increase in some things like vacations or hobbies. Take a look at those things and come up with a post-retirement budget.
And what about like dealing with a sudden expense that you weren't anticipating?
Well, the simplest way is to expect the unexpected. If you own a home, you can expect that sooner or later you're going to need to replace a furnace or a roof. If you own a car and it's out of warranty, you're going to expect to see some expenses there. And so you should plan for some of those in your budget. The other thing is it's very much the same as before you retired. You're wise to have 3 to 6 months of ready cash available or funds that can be liquid to cover those kinds of expenses. Or if that's not possible, at least know where you have access to money. Is there some retirement fund asset that you can sell quickly? Or could you have a line of credit against your home? Have some way where you can raise cash quickly if you need to.
And of course, there's always taxes. Even though you're in retirement, you don't get to avoid those, do you?
No, you sure don't.
So that's something that also needs to be taken into consideration.
Yes, very much so.
Okay, terrific. Well, thanks so much for this advice, Gary. Always great to chat with you. And
glad to be here.
and for everybody out there, we hope that you found this information valuable and it helps you live your best moving on forward. Bye for now, everyone.